Okay, so a Total War Warhammer 3 Immortal Empires AI performance sort of tier list. So today I'm going to be looking at all the AI. Sorry, they're in two different tier lists. So you're just gonna have to bear with me for that. But basically, we're looking at AI, and basically like a theoretical tier list of how well I think they're going to do um in Immortal Empires, basically without player intervention. So obviously, Kairos could do, for example, super well, but it won't matter if you are playing Crocodile and you go down and slap him straight away. Like, this is without player intervention. It's more of a theoretical tier list. Obviously, I have not had any access, or I have not played Immortal Empires at all as of making this. I'm making this on the 18th of August, so 5 days before Immortal Empires comes out for everybody. I don't have access, haven't played. This is purely based off of my knowledge from Total War Warhammer 3 and Total War Warhammer 2 right now. So it's mainly just me kind of theorizing who I think is going to be good, and who I think is not. So I'm going to do the Total War Warhammer 3 Lords first, because they are kind of more fresh in my mind. Also, this tier list doesn't have Valkyria, Village, Festus, and Azazel on it, because the tier list here doesn't actually have them included yet. And I'm not gonna lie, I just couldn't be arsed making my own. But kind of just to give my thoughts on them. So I think Azazel's gonna do. Actually, I should probably explain how I'm ranking these. So I'm ranking these based on how well I think they are going to do, not how long they survive, but like how much of an impact they actually have on the campaign as a whole. So like, how big their empire grows, if they're really hard to deal with, stuff like that. This does not include like say Exiles of Nehek, for example. They're a good example of this. They might survive super long into the campaign. They might be there until like turn 150, 200, but they only have one city and they don't do anything, which is quite common with the Exiles of Nehek, I've found. They're not getting high ranking. Like, it affects a little bit, but like, this isn't like, I'm not ranking them based on how long they survive or how long they're around. They have to actually perform and do well and kind of be a threat to a certain extent. So without I'll do the champion DLCs first. Obviously I can't actually rank them here because I don't have them, but we'll just kind of talk about them real quick. So I think Village, he is. I also have the map as well. So Village is here in Cathay. I think Village will do okay. I don't think he's gonna. He's not gonna. He's eventually gonna get killed by Miao Ying. She obviously, she's gonna do super well. She's gonna confederate Yao Jing. Shit, I can't remember his name. Anyway, she's gonna confederate him, and probably, she'll inevitably have all of Cathay. So, she's gonna do really well. Village will probably survive for a bit. He might be a bit of a nuisance for Cathay, but then I think he'll eventually he's gonna get wrecked by them. Azazel, I think, is actually gonna do quite well. Azazel's up in Norska. He's Wintertooth and Norska to his east and west. Costalton is kind of really the only threat to him in terms of legendary lords. What I can foresee Azazel doing is he's just gonna make peace or have military alliances with Wintertooth and Norska probably, and then Costalton's his only real threat. Haggrief might be a bit of a threat for him, but I don't think Malice is going to be all that much of a pain for Azazel to deal with, so I think that's going to be relatively okay for him. So I think he's going to do quite well. Don't think he's going to snowball and do ridiculous. Like, he's not going to go on to be super powerful or anything, but he's going to survive for a while. Might end up controlling some cities down in the Empire, which will be a nuisance for them to deal with, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. Eventually, obviously, the Empire is just going to snowball and just control everywhere here. Valkyria, I think, is going to be very strong early on against Nagarond. Obviously, if Valkyria can get the dual wield Corn Warriors very quick with the really strong anti-infantry, she's gonna probably snowball pretty hard. That's gonna be really difficult for Nagaron to deal with. I don't know if Nagaron can make alliances with Warriors of Chaos. I assume not. Yeah, I would assume not. So Nagaron's gonna have to deal with Valkyria. So I think Valkyria's gonna do quite well. Festus, honestly, I don't think Festus is gonna do very well. I think he's gonna get killed very early on. He might hold one city for a while and just keep it, but I don't think he's gonna expand very much. He has to deal with pretty much the whole empire. Kostaltin and Katarina are really close to him. Even Drake is close. I don't think Drake is going to go up and try and kill him. But if he tries to expand south, he's going to run into Drake and he's going to run into problems, I think. So basically, that's kind of what I think about the 4 legendary lords. I did all of them, right? Village, Festus, Azazel, yeah. So that's what I think about all of them. And now actually moving on to the lords themselves. So Bellacore. One of 2 things is going to happen with Bellacore, I think. He's either going to be that lord that stays on Albion, doesn't move, or he's going to leave Albion, get killed by Bretonnia real fast. Bretonnia just going to go up and take Albion off him, and that's it. Or Nagaryth. One of those 2 is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be Nagaryth. It's probably going to be Bretonnia, but I think Bretonnia is probably going to kill Bellacore very quickly, or he just sits on Albion for most of the game. So I don't think he's going to be very impactful in the game overall. So for that reason, I'm going to put Bellacore in D. Also, I've probably explained. So S is obviously like, you know, when we get onto them, things like the Empire, Ulthuan, things like Empire, the Empire, Ulthuan, Nagarond, they're going to go into S tier, like things like that. F tier are factions that are gonna just die immediately, like very quickly. A are factions that are gonna grow strong, but they're not gonna get super powerful. B, C, and D are all kind of factions. C factions will probably be a lot of factions that do well but end up getting confederated. It's like things like Balthazar, Gelt, factions like that where he does well. What are other ones like Hagrief as well? Probably go into C tier because they'll do quite well for a while. They'll survive, and then they'll just get confederated by Nagaron. So things like that will happen. So that's kind of the thought process. D are kind of those factions that just kind of do nothing. They probably survive for a while, but they end up like not having much of an impact. So that's kind of the thought process here. Next is Boris. So Boris is up. He's surrounded by a lot. He's having a rough early game. He's surrounded by Archaon, Demon Prince, Wintertooth. I mean, Clamolder aren't gonna do shit. Yeah, that's a rough one. I think Boris will probably do well. He'll probably survive, and I think he's just gonna get overrun. He might get confederated before he gets overrun. But I think Boris is probably gonna be one of those factions that end up in D. Like, he's strong. He's good abilities. He's good army bonuses, but I just can't see him. I just can't see him holding back Archaon and the Demon Prince and potentially Wintertooth. I don't think he can deal with all 3 of those at the same time. So yeah, I think D is probably good. The Demon Prince. So the Demon Prince will probably go down here, help kill Boris, expand a little bit into Norska, and then probably just get held back by the rest of Kislev. And if he tries to expand west, he's gonna just get blocked by Malice. I think Malice is gonna be basically a bulwark here. Dark Elves are quite strong in the early game. So I don't think the Demon Prince is going to be especially strong in the early game, but combined with Wintertooth and Archaon taking out Boris, is going to be quite good. But against pretty much everybody else after that point, I think the Demon Prince is probably going to be above Boris because he'll live longer than Boris. But I again don't think he's going to do very good. Next on to Greasus. So Greasus is, I actually can't remember where Greasus. Oh, he's here. Greasus kind of out on his own. He's gonna expand probably a lot in this area. he doesn't really have anyone to sell. He has no legendary lords really to stop him from expanding. The closest is Helmengorst. We'll get onto Helmengorst. But I don't think Greece is going to have that much of an issue. He's going to expand west into the mountains, and then he's going to run into Clan Rictus. Yeah, I don't think Greece is going to have any problems. I think he's going to get quite large. So I'm going to put Greece up in B. I think he's going to be a good mid to late game threat for, well, probably a mid game threat for people playing Helmengorst and people playing Imrik, and then probably eventually Grimgor too. So that's what I think about Greasus. Kairos. Yeah, I think Kairos is going to do pretty damn well. Kairos has some really strong units. He's in a good starting location. He can expand really far here. He's eventually going to run into Teclis, but I think Kairos is going to beat Teclis quite handily if he gets to that stage. When he gets to Crockgar, that's where the problem starts for him, I think. I think when he gets to Crockgar, Tic-Tac-Toe, that's when he's going to start running into issues. And if Oxyotl comes up to attack him as well, I think that's where he's going to start struggling as an AI. But in general, I think Kairos is going to do quite well, so I'm also going to put Kairos in B. I don't think he's going to be as strong as Greasus, but I think he's going to control a lot of the Southlands. He's going to control, like, probably this entire area here, I would imagine. Hopefully you can see my mouse cursor. Katarina is going up into S. I just imagine she's just going to be a second empire. She's going to expand this whole area. She's going to destroy Clan Molder really easily. She's going to destroy Azzag. She's going to control this whole area around here. She might even fight with the Empire, but I can't imagine. She'll fight with the Empire factions that are kind of around her here and control a lot of that area. And then she'll just make a super alliance with the Empire, and just nothing will be able to stop them. Yeah, I think Katarina is going to do extremely well. Castelton, I also think I'm going to put Castelton in C because he's going to get confederated probably quite early. He's going to do very, very well. He's going to hold back the tide of chaos from coming from Norska extremely easily, I think. But then Katarina's just going to confederate him, and then she just becomes the kind of the wall for chaos to break down, which I don't think is going to happen. Kugath. This is a tough one. I don't know. Like, I'm assuming Kugath is going to automatically be at war with Helmengorst. I think that's probably going to be a thing from the current campaign in Warhammer 3, where you automatically, as a Chaos faction, you automatically declare war on basically every non-Chaos faction that you come across that isn't ogres, or kind of probably Skaven as well. So I imagine vampire counts will have war declared on them. I actually, genuinely, when I've been playing Warhammer 3, I haven't run into the vampire counts before they've gotten destroyed, so I actually don't know if they auto declare war on them or not. So I'm gonna assume they do, but hopefully I'm not wrong on that. Because if I am wrong on that kind of changes the outcome. But I think running into Helmengorst early and having to deal with these lizard men, I think the lizard men will probably hold them back for like a decent amount because lizards are quite strong against chaos. But I think once he runs into Helmengorst, he's just gonna be stuck on that island. I don't know if Helmengorst will exactly come and destroy him, but he's going to get stuck on that island. He's not getting off of it. So for that reason, I'm gonna put Kugath down in D below the Demon Prince, I think. I don't think Kugath is gonna do particularly well at all. Miao Ying. Now, this might be weird, because Miao Ying is one of those factions that is basically an Empire, Kislev, Bretonnia kind of situation, like Ulthuan or Tyrion kind of thing, where she is going to confederate all of Cathay and just control it. However, she's not going to leave Cathay. She's going to capture all of Cathay here, and then she's going to stay. She's not going to expand out past the borders of Cathay, as I'm pretty confident of that. She might come down through the kind of through the mountains and stuff, but I mean, I can't see her expanding all that much, if I'm being honest. So that's why I think she's going into A and not S, because I don't think she's going to expand to a point where she's going to become a major problem for other factions. Once you try and go and deal with Cathay, it's going to be a bit of an issue, but I don't think Cathay is going to exactly put pressure on you if you're not already within Cathay, if that makes sense. Nakari. if I'm trusting my gut, the carry is just going to get wrecked right off the bat. She's going to die straight away. She is on Ulthuan. She has to deal with Avalorn and Tyrion and all the other factions like straight away. Like she just is not gonna survive very long. I think the elves are gonna destroy her. Her ranged, does she even? I can't even remember. I haven't played Slaanesh actually, so there's no ranged units in her army except for the Soul Grinder maybe. Like that's just real bad. You just stack your army with, and you've no armor against elves. Oh yeah, I can't see Nikari doing very well at all. She's probably gonna die straight away. Scarbrand. Yeah, I think Scarbrand's gonna be a huge problem in the Southlands. Huge problem. I think Scarbrand's easily top of A tier. In terms of how strong he's gonna be, easily top of A tier. I think he's bordering on S. Oh, maybe he will be an S. Maybe he will be S tier. He crushes Tomb Kings. He is going to crush Tomb Kings. Every non-legendary lord faction around Scarbrand is going to be killed so fast. So fast. He's going to expand so quickly. His army is so strong. Khorne are ridiculously powerful, especially with Scarbrand leading them. Like, they're heavily armored to begin with. Like, they have their Khorne warriors. They're really heavy. Like, Tomb Kings cannot contend with that in the early game at all. They need to get up. They need to get up to having the Tomb Guard real fast. God, yeah, they're going to be so hard to deal with early on for basically every faction in the Southlands. So yeah, I'm going to put Scarbrand in A. He's borderline S. He's borderline S tier, I think, right now. At least for me when I'm having a look at this. Scrag. Scrag is down next to Clan Angrund and the Border Princes, basically. Oh, and Ikka Claw and Pirates of Sartosa. Tough one. Tory Vresser there too. I think Scrag might end up just kind of plateauing very quickly. Like, I think he's going to be another D tier. What's going to happen is he's going to expand a little bit, and then he's just going to run into Clan Angrund. He's going to run into Eltharion. He's going to run into Pirates of Sartosa, and he's just not going to be able to expand past them. Actually, he might get Sartosa. But I think past that, oh, you're not really getting much. You're not getting far. Yeah, Scrag's not going to get far. Also, just remember, this is only AI, no player intervention. Obviously, in the hands of a player, these factions can be insanely strong. And then is it Yao Jing? His name is. I'm pretty sure that's right. I hope I'm not getting that wrong. Just gonna put him into C. He's gonna do well. Then he's gonna get confederated by Miao Ying. That's basically it. All right. So this is a Total War Warhammer 3. I don't think I need to explain more than that. He's gonna do well. He's gonna hold back. He might kill. He might beat Clan Eshin. And then he just gets confederated by Cathay. Cool. On to the Total War Warhammer 2 Legendary Lords. So this is the rest of the factions now, and this is actually in order of factions. So we'll just do them in order. Tyrion, absolutely S tier. He's gonna. I have heard that there are issues with confederation in Total War Warhammer 3. However, I'm gonna ignore that and just say that Creative Assembly are gonna probably fix that issue real quick, and then Tyrion is just gonna do what he does in Total War Warhammer 2. He's gonna confederate all of Ulthuan. He's gonna hold it. He's gonna expand out over west. He's gonna take a load of this area, and he's gonna do absolutely nuts. He's gonna do bits. Teclis. I think Teclis is honestly gonna be a D tier army, D tier faction. If he doesn't get confederated early, he's probably gonna get killed by Kairos pretty fast. I think Kairos is really strong. Kairos is gonna absolutely wreck Teclis. Alariel, probably gonna be quite strong early on, survive for quite a while, and then just get confederated by Teclis. Or by Tyrion, Jesus Christ. Yep, she's gonna get confederated. that's kind of it. Alathanar, he's in a rough spot. He's in a rough position. Yeah, he's in a bit of a rough position, honestly. He's not, well, Alathanar wouldn't go east anyway, but you got Crone, and then Malekith, who are going to expand real quick on him. Yeah, I think Nagaryth might do well for a while, and then he's definitely above Tyrion, I think, but he's gonna just get killed pretty quickly. Unless he gets confederated, obviously, but I don't think he can really stand against Malekith all that long. Eltharion is going to be in B. I think it's going to take a very long time for him to get confederated, because of his starting location compared to Tyrion, because he's not starting here. I'm pretty sure he used to here somewhere before. He's gonna do bits. He's surrounded by he's got beastmen and chevaliers. He's gonna ally with the chevaliers pretty quickly. He's gonna probably kill the beastmen. I think he's probably gonna leave the Tomb Kings alone. You also have Volkmar down here, who he can make an alliance with. So I think that's gonna be I think he's gonna do quite well. I think he's gonna survive for a while. He's gonna expand quite a lot. I think eventually he'll probably get confederated by Tyrion once all the major port owners meet each other. That event happens. So yeah, I think I'm gonna put Eltharion open B there. Knights of Calador. Imric, where are we putting you? Rictus Clan Nest is the closest enemy to you, or Kugath, but you're probably going to run into Rictus Clan Nest first. I think they'll do fine. I'm going to put him in C. I think he's going to be one of those lords that sits there, expands a bit, doesn't expand much more because he runs into harder, tougher enemies that he's just not going to be able to kill. He's not going to have the funds. Doesn't really have. He has no allies around him. So that's gonna be a bit of a struggle for him. So I think he's gonna go into C. I think he's gonna just kind of stick around there, not really expand much. That's kind of it. Mazda Mundy. Mazda Mundy has always been, I think, a high C. Mazda Mundy has always been a high C. What happens is he expands early. He gets basically like this kind of whole like skinny part of Lustria, like the whole like if we're looking at America, like this whole like Central America like looking region. He has this whole area here, kind of expands down into the swamps a little bit, and then just runs into the Dark Elves, because once Marathi gets confederated, he's running into an Agarond, and he's just going to get stopped right in his tracks. And that happens every time, and I can't see why it would be any different in this. So that's why he's going to be C. He's going to expand a bit, get pretty strong, run into a roadblock, can't get past it. Yeah, that's basically it. Crocodile normally does decent, but now he has to contend with Manfred is down here. Now, obviously, Thorek Ironbrow is between him and Manfred, but Manfred is here. Genuinely, like, I mean, he's had to deal with the silver. He has to deal with the silver host, but normally Kalita deals with them quite early on. He has to kind of get the Skaven out, and then Kalita does the silver host. So a bit of a rough one for Crocker. It's a bit of a rougher start for him, I think. What's either going to happen is he'll run into Kairos, and I think he'll either completely wreck Kairos and just be the biggest roadblock for Kairos to get past as an AI, and like just not be able to expand whatsoever, or he kind of goes north. He expands north up towards Kalita, runs into Kalita. They either, they probably aren't going to become allies, and then they fight each other, and Scarbrand comes along. I think Scarbrand against Crocker is not good for Crocker. Yeah, so I think there's a few outcomes possible there, but I think again, as much as I hate to say, because I really love Crocker, I think he's also going to be a C. He's going to be one of those factions that survives for a while, but does not expand enough to warrant being a huge threat. Tehenowin. Tehenowin never does very well. I'm going to put Tehenowin down in D. He's going to be above Alathanar and Teclis, I think. He's going to expand here. He's probably going to kill Skrulk, and he's going to expand here, get confederated by Gorok. Yep, that's probably what's going to happen. Tic-Tac-Toe. I've seen Tic-Tac-Toe do quite well, but now the Empire is also here. Volkmar, I don't know what his legendary lore trait is, or sorry, his faction trait is, if he has like any negative, diplomatic relations with lizardmen or anything. I don't think he does right now. I don't think so. But I just can't see Volkmar and Tic-Tac-Toe becoming allies. At the most, they'll have trade agreements and maybe a non-aggression pact, but they're not going to become defensive or military allies. And they might run into each other. Tic-Tac-Toe might control, like, kind of this area. It'll expand pretty big, and he'll probably hold off Kairos. I think, actually I've convinced myself. I think Tic-Tac-Toe might be probably worse than Imric, but better than Alariel. I don't think he gets confederated. Tic-Tac-Toe, from what I've seen in previous games, because of his location, it's kind of only Crocker that he interacts with, if at all, if they even get to meet each other properly. So I think Tic-Tac-Toe is not going to get confederated, and if he does, I'll be very surprised if he does. And then he'll just expand, control an area, and probably not expand beyond it, and do decent. Yeah, I think that's good. Nakai, I'm sorry, buddy. I love you, Nakai. You're gonna get killed straight off the bat. Well, actually, there's no legendary lords around him. There's no legendary lords around him. So he could end up doing actually fairly okay. Huh. Yeah, kind of, yeah. So Nakai, Nakai normally start in Total Warhammer 2 kind of starts over here. So he runs into Clan Pestilence very early. And the Dwarves. Actually, yeah, It's gonna be a lot of Cathay factions here. Oh, Nakai actually might actually do okay. You know? He might survive for a while. I'm gonna put, you know what? I'm gonna change my opinion. I'm gonna put Nakai here. I'm gonna put Nakai in the C tier, kind of middle of C tier so far. I think he might actually do okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say he's gonna do okay. Now, when like they release Nippon and stuff, and they end up coming here, I mean, he's gonna end up getting killed then. But I think for now, Nakai actually might be all right. Yeah, I think he might be okay. All right, Gorok. I think Gorok's gonna do better than Crocker. I still don't think he's gonna be B tier level, but I think he's gonna do better than Crocker for sure. Actually, he might actually be B tier. Yeah, he's B tier. I think he's below Eltharion, but I think he's B tier. He's gonna control most of Lustria. He's gonna wipe the floor with Clan Pestilence if he runs into them. He's gonna absolutely wreck Skrulk, and he's gonna control most of Lustria. When he hits Alberic, he might run into some trouble. And Wolfheart. But aside from that, I think he'll be okay. Yeah, I think Gorok will do it. I think Gorok's B. I think Gorok's B tier. I think he'll control most of Illustria, basically. Like, yeah, I think he'll control most of Illustria. I think he'd be pretty strong. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Oxyotl. So Oxyotl is basically in the Southern Chaos Wastes, and he has no other, well, like, on his landmass, he has no other legendary lords to contend with. I mean, he's gonna control, like, this whole area down here, right? Like, he's just gonna have that. He's gonna absolutely slap the demons down there. So he's already in High C. Like, he's gonna control this whole area. The issue is, I'm assuming he's inevitably gonna hit Kairos, probably. So it's the real question is, can he deal with Kairos? And I'm not sure. It's basically Chameleon, Skinks, and Skinks in general versus Horrors, and I think Horrors are better. I think Horrors dominate Skinks pretty easily. He just has all those cool upgrades though. And he will run around and he'll be a bit of a nuisance. He'll teleport all over the place and he'll be a bit annoying. I think he's like low B. I think he's gonna be low B. I think a lot of the other legendary lords that are going into B tier are going to go above him, but I think he's gonna be low B if I'm being honest. Yeah. All right. Cool. Malekith. So after looking at the map again, I'm actually not sure if Malekith is going to be S or just A. The real question that I have is, can Malekith deal with Valkyria and Grombridal? Both of them. Can he deal with both of them at the same time in the early game? Because I'm going to be honest, I've never played a Dwarf campaign where I've gotten to the Dark Elves, and I've never played a Dark Elf campaign where I've gotten to the Dwarves. At least not like powerful, like legendary lord dwarves. I've never played a campaign that's gotten to that point, so I actually don't know myself how Dark Elves play into dwarves. So yeah, that's a really, really interesting start for both of them, honestly. I'm gonna be tentative and I'm gonna put Nagorond Malekith in A. I'm not gonna put him in B because I mean obviously he's gonna confederate Crone, he's gonna confederate Marathi, but then once he does that, what can he or can he even make it to that point? You know, that's a big question for me right now. If he makes it to that point, he does very well. But my skepticism basically is of why I'm not putting him in S is because I'm not sure if he's gonna just crumble under the power of dwarves straight away, which he very well may do. But again, not sure. So I'm gonna put Malekith in A. I think that's a good spot to put him in. Marathi's just gonna be in C, kind of next to Alariel, because the same thing is gonna happen. Same thing's gonna happen with Alariel. Marathi's gonna probably hold her own for a while. She's gonna do okay, and she's gonna get confederated by Nagorond. That's basically what's gonna happen. Crone is going down into D. She's going below Teclis because she's gonna get confederated super quick. She's not gonna have any impact on the game whatsoever. She's basically gonna be the first Dark Elf Lord to get confederated. Loki or Fellheart also going down in D. Actually, actually no, he's in a different location now. Oh, he's over there actually. Okay, let's put you back down there for a second. So he's pretty close to Village. But aside from Village, there's no other legendary lord. Oh man, I think Village. If they fight each other, Village just wins that fight really easily. I think with his barrier regen, on his units, I think Village wins that fight 9 times out of 10. So I'm gonna put Loki here. Put Loki here down in F. He's not gonna. He might not even get confederated, honestly, by Naggarond. He might get wiped out before Naggarond can even confederate him. So yeah, I'm gonna put Loki here down in F. Malice. I'm willing to put Malice up in beside Crocodile. I think basically him and Crocodile are going to be in similar positions in their locations. He's going to expand a little bit to the west. He's going to hold probably like a lot of this area here. Basically, he's going to own like a lot of that northern wastes area, and he's going to hold back the Demon Prince, and he's going to run into Sigvald, and he's going to hold back Sigvald. But I don't think he's going to kill either of them. They're kind of just going to probably bounce off each other, especially in the early game. Oh, he might kill the Demon Prince. Actually, come to think of it, yeah, he might kill the Demon Prince. His units very early are not particularly strong. Especially because of his gifts. He has to build up his gifts and stuff to get better units. Maybe he'll actually beat the Demon Prince early. And he might, yeah. Where did I put the Demon Prince? Down in D? Yeah, that seems about right. Seems about right. And then he'll get confederated. I'm going to put him above Crocker. That seems right for him. Rakarth. So Rakarth is down in Lustria. I think Rakarth does good early. I think he does good early. I think he controls probably like the whole Turtle Isle section and probably the jungles of Green Mist. I think he controls like that kind of area. Maybe part of the spine of Sotek. He'll expand south, down to the desert where Kalita used to be. Or no, she's only there in the Vortex campaign actually. But he'll expand south into the desert, but then I think not really do much. He's going to run into Tehenowin and then probably run into Gorok, and I think they beat him. And again, I'm not sure how he'll work into the, because I actually don't know how Dark Elves will work into the Dwarves. There, so good question. Of who'll come out on top there. Those dwarves end up, they end up being they are quite late into the game because they are quite strong. They have a defensible position. So yeah, I'm gonna put Rakarth. Rakarth is a bit of a, like, he's kind of up in the air for me, so I actually don't know where he's gonna go. So I'm just gonna stick him in C. He's probably gonna do better than Akai. But I'm gonna stick Rakarth there. Onto the Skaven. The Skaven. Clan Moors. Clan Moors, they can do very well in campaigns. They can expand a lot. They can be a bit of a pain in the ass. However, there is that one big bad Scarbrand right next to Clan Moors, and that is not good for Clan Moors, even in the slightest. That is super bad for them. So I think, yeah, I think Clan Moors might take a massive L early in the game. Especially if Scarbrand goes towards them. If he goes north, Clan Moors are going to take a huge L. I'm going to put Clan Moors down low C. There's the potential there for them to do very good, but if Scarbrand runs into them, they are beyond fucked. They're so screwed. So yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Skrulk, he's just going straight into F. Gorok to Henowin, they're just going to double team him. He's going to get wrecked. Oh. Richter's Clan Nest is kind of in the middle of nowhere. I would put Richter's Clan Nest in F, normally. For Warhammer 2, I'd put them in F, but I'm going to put them up in D. I'm going to put him above Crone, because he's going to last longer than Crone will. But, I mean, he's just going to sit there. He's going to expand a little bit, fight other Skaven, maybe some Orcs, and then either Kaldor or Thorgrim is going to come along and just destroy him. They're just going to absolutely destroy him. Ikit Claw. Ikit Claw, another faction that, you know, the AI seems to just love to sit in Skaven Blight and do fuck all. Sometimes he expands east, or west, not east. But a majority of the time, Clan Angron take around the area, or take over like this area, take over the vaults, and they kind of have some, or the Sartosa take over Talea, and Ikit Claw doesn't really have anywhere to go but west, and then he runs into Bretonnia and the Wood Elves, and then he's just kind of stuck in this area. So, yeah, Ikit Claw as a lord to play as, the best Skaven lord without a doubt. But as an AI faction, he's just kind of doesn't really do much. He's probably top of D. Clan Eshin. Oof. Rough start for Clan Eshin. He's right next to Yao Xing. Hang on, I'm gonna make sure that I'm getting this guy's name right. I need to make sure that I'm getting his name. Zhao Ming. Oh my god. Well, I got it so wrong. Holy shit. Zhao Ming. Every time I said Zhao Ying, yikes. Zhao Ming. God. So yeah, that's a rough start for Clan Eshin. To be fair, he'll Snitch, my boy, my favorite Skaven Lord, probably my front runner for who I'll be playing in Immortal Empires. Probably be my first campaign, but we'll see. As an AI, I think Snitch is gonna get absolutely wrecked. I think Snitch is not going to do well. Yeah, he's gonna run into Zhao Ming, and he's gonna run into the brick wall of Cathay. I just can't see him actually performing. He's gonna take over the forests area of the moon. He's probably gonna take the Imperial Road. He's gonna have like the Celestial Lake, kind of like a lot of this area here. Actually, that's a decent expansion. To be fair, now that I like actually look at it in terms of like how much of Cathay he might end up taking. Yeah, him and Village are gonna fight over Imperial Road. I think Skaven beat Zinch, but Village has the barrier regen. I think Eshin beats Loki or Fellheart pretty handily. You know what? Actually, now that I kind of thought it through and realized kind of like how much of he might actually expand, willing to put him up a bit. I think you might put him down in C, just the bottom of C. So I think that's how the AI will do there. Throt, honestly, God, he's just gotta be like, he's just gotta be down at the bottom of B. All Throt does all game long is just sit in the Hell Pit and do completely nothing. He's like the Exiles of Nehek. He just sits there and does nothing. He builds armies and just stacks them outside of Hell Pit. Does nothing at all. That's how AI Throt is going to work. And that's just how I see AI Throt going. Luther, he's going to be real annoying for the lizard men to deal with. I don't know if the lizard men will ever fully defeat him. Actually, but to be fair, Bordelot might come along and just hit him in the back of the head. While he's focused on the lizard men. He is surrounded by basically all enemies. No one there will ally with him. So he is kind of off on his own a little bit here. Yeah, But I do think he'll hold his own. Vampire coasts are quite strong. So I think he'll end up, like, he'll be better than Marathi. He'll be better than Marathi and Alariel, I think. He'll hold his own for a while, he'll do quite strong. He'll have a few towns. He'll have a few settlements kind of along the coast. The lizard men will just kind of, like, they'll run into him, take a few cities off him, he'll come back down, he'll take cities off them. They're never going to take his, the Awakening, whatever his capital city is. They're probably not going to take that for a very long time. So I think that's what's going to happen there. Noctilus, he's just another lord that just sits in Galleon's grave. He tries to expand, he tries to go up to Ulthuan, doesn't really get much done. He has Galleon's grave, and that's about it. That's what's going to happen with Noctilus. He'll eventually die. The High Elves will come down and get him. Sartosa, I think she's going in. She's going above Rakarth. She Arnessa, actually, I've found from my campaigns, does actually quite well. She basically expands all of Talea takes here. Now she's going to run into Scrag, which now I don't know how Vampire Coast are going to do with into ogres. But she's got some expansion to do. Like, she can go up north to Leia. She's gonna stop Icket Claw from doing anything. If she can get Icket Claw and she takes Skaven Blight, she can take a lot of Estalia. She can come down south into Araby and take all of that there. So there's a lot of opportunity for Arnessa Saltspite to do well. So I think she will do decent. So yeah, so high C I think is a good spot for her. Silostra, where is she? She's surrounded by oh no. Oh no. Oh, Silostra, you're right next to. Oh boy, you might be the first legendary lord to go, I'm not gonna lie. yeah, Torok, Sisters of Twilight, Nagaryth, all there. Marathi, yeah, you're gone. Sorry, Silostra. Yeah, we can just move on. Cetra does end up taking a lot. He does have Manfred to contend with now. As much as I absolutely fucking hate that bald cunt Manfred, like, you know, he does have a strong faction. But I mean, they have to contend with Scarbrand as well. Like, if Scarbrand comes down, if he expands, it really depends on what direction Scarbrand decides to expand in. If he goes north, Queek is fucked. If he goes south, I mean, like, what are skeletons gonna do to the Chaos Warriors, the Khorne Warriors with their shields and their dual weapons? They are gonna cut through skeletons like butter. So that's rough. And then he has Scarbrand or Manfred to contend with as well, which is real bad. Oof. But to be fair, Manfred might be fighting Thorek and Volkmar at the same time. Southlands, honestly, Southlands is a massive toss-up for me. I think the Southlands is this is the coolest starting location by far, because there's just so much that can happen. I think every single game this is going to be very different to what plays out depending on who you're playing. But I think in general, I'm quite confident that Cetra will be very strong. Obviously, Tomb Kings are just quite powerful. Their whole desert attrition. I might put Cetra at the top of B, actually. Their desert attrition is a huge asset to them, and their sandstorm attrition and everything. So, like, Cetra probably does quite well, I think. Even with everything that he has to contend with, I think Cetra survives for a while, and once he weathers the storm, he's going to do quite well. The Exiles of Nehek. I've complained about them already. They're just gonna go here. They're gonna survive for ages, but they're literally just gonna sit in that one pocket of the map with the one pyramid settlement that they have and do literally nothing. And that's what's gonna happen, and it's not gonna change. Kalita. I think Kalita does quite well. I don't think she does as well as Cetra, but I think Kalita does quite good. She has a strong start to the game. She takes over the Silver Host real fast. And then she expands pretty quickly. I think she does as slightly better than Crocker. Yeah, she has a good large area. Scarbrand, I'm pretty sure there's a mountain range here, so Scarbrand might not expand through that to get to Kalita. Kalita will go through the mountain and eventually hit Scarbrand, but she won't be able to expand further beyond that, I think. And then she'll just kind of expand more south into Crocker. They'll probably fight each other, and they bounce off each other probably. Yeah, so that's how I think Kalita is quite good. I think she's going to be kind of annoying to deal with early in the game. Yeah, and that's what happens. Oh boy, here we go. Arkham the Black. Arkham the Black. Here's the thing. In every single campaign that I have ever played, and my friend Kian that I play with, he is also thinking this right now as well. Every single campaign, Arkan never dies. He never gets wiped out, but he cannot expand. He tries to go fight a settlement and just gets wiped. His army gets fucked, and he respawns and does that over and over and over again for the entire campaign, and he never gets taken over unless a player actually goes and takes his settlements from him. I don't know what it is, but that's always what happens. And I really hope that's what continues to happen in Immortal Empires, because it's hilarious watching Arkan spawn and just get clapped every single time. It is so funny. So I'm going to put Arkan just basically in the same position as the Exiles of Nehek, except, you know what? I'll put him slightly higher, because at least he tries. At least he tries. He tries to expand. He just can't. Empire. Right. Empire. Yep. Need I say more? Karl Franz he's gonna confederate everyone. This whole section in the map up here is just gonna be red with Empire colors. This everywhere here is gonna be red with Empire colors. Eventually, Festus is gonna get wrecked. Drake is probably gonna be okay. She's gonna be in her forest, but everywhere around her is gonna be red with Empire. Empire's gonna probably still go up into Norska. Actually, that's an interesting part. Will the Empire expand past Kislev? Probably. That adds a new dynamic to the game, which I think is going to be really, really interesting, because normally we see the Empire expand up into Norska and takes this whole area here basically off Wolfrick and Throg, and just dominates everywhere up to the Chaos Waste. But now with the rest of the map and Kislev's presence, I don't know if Reichland, the Empire, will expand that much, but it's still gonna be like, that's the end game boss. I mean, like, that's like the end game boss for most people, taking out the entire Empire. So I'm gonna put Empire up in S, because that's, you know, the Empire is terrifying. They're gonna expand. They're gonna take everything. Volkmar. I think Volkmar is gonna actually do well down in the Southlands. But how well is the question. He's at least C, but is he B? Who does he have to contend with? Manfred von Karstein. He has to contend with Sylvania. Now, a big thing that Manfred is losing is his ability to confederate Vlad and Isabella, which is a real big deal. A real big deal. So that puts a big downer on Manfred. But is Volkmar strong enough to take him with his stupid flatulence? Maybe. I don't. And then with the the Vampire Corruption, it's kind of rough. And he's going to be taking Vampire Corruption probably from Arkan, because Arkan gets to a certain point and then he just gets it all taken away from him. So he'll get to Araby, Volkmar will probably expand in the same direction that Arkan is coming from. He's going to get hit by vampiric attrition in 2 different locations, which is going to be real rough for him to deal with. So yeah, I think that might put a big downer on things. For Volkmar, I think he holds his own for a while. I'm gonna put him in C somewhere. Does he do better than Nakai? Probably not. He probably doesn't do better than Imrik either, if I'm being honest. Oh, he doesn't do better in Tic-Tac-Toe. Actually, Tic-Tac-Toe... No, yeah, I think he's there, actually. Yeah, I think that looks about right. For me, I think. Cool. Balthazar Gelt is next. Welcome to Estalia, gentlemen. Need I say more? He is real strong, real early, gets confederated. But that's... I mean, you don't see Balthazar Gelt for very long in a campaign, unfortunately. But for the time that he's around, he is quite good. But then again, he's not very there. He's not there for very long. I'm willing to put him above Marathi and Alariel, but he's not going to do much more than that. Wolfheart. So without Alberic there, Wolfheart was really bad. He would get killed very early. But with Alberic there, he has an ally. So I think he does better. I would put Wolfrick in B, but I think I'm going to put I keep saying Wolfrick, Jesus. Wolfheart. I'm going to put Wolfheart in C, I think. With Alberic being here to support him, I think it makes both their factions better. That support for each other. Yeah, but I think he just dies to the Lizardmen. Honestly, I think the whole mechanic he has going on, he just ends up getting overwhelmed by Lizardmen. So he won't get confederated though. So I think I put him next to Luther. I don't think he's gonna do I don't think he's gonna do as well as Luther Harkin, but I think he does well. Thorgrim, Grudgebearer, absolute powerhouse. To be fair, just want to preface. Not sure. I think the Empire is number 1, but I don't know who's number 2 between Ulthuan and the Dwarves. So these are basically even for me. But he is easily an S tier. He's gonna confederate Ungrim. He'll probably eventually get down to Thorek. He's gonna, dude. Skarsnik is fucked beyond recognition. He is so fucked. He's between Ungrim and Thorgrim. Once Thorgrim confederates Ungrim, if he's still somehow alive, he is just gonna get sandwiched to fuck. He is so screwed. Thorgrim will eventually also confederate Bellacore. He'll confederate all the dwarves around here. He'll have Varenka Hills. He'll have that whole area. He's gonna go down and kill Wurzag. He's gonna kill Clan Rictus eventually. He's gonna have such a massive territory. He's gonna expand east. He might eventually run into Greases, and he'll probably kill Greases as well. Thorgrim is gonna be insane. He's gonna be so fucking strong as an AI. He's gonna be really hard to contend and deal with. He's gonna be absolutely nuts. Grombrindal, good old White Dwarf. I've kind of talked about Grombrindal a little bit now already. So he has to contend with Nagarond and then Valkyria. Bit rough for the dwarves to have to deal with Khorne. Because Khorne obviously has really good armor piercing, and that's kind of the dwarves' big thing. They have good they've really high armor. So difficult to contend with this one. I'm gonna say that I think Grombrindal might be a bit of a surprise. I'm gonna put him up in B, not higher than Oxyotl, but I think he actually might do quite well. If he beats Nagarond, he is the powerhouse up there, without a doubt. If he beats Nagarond. And he's going to expand south. He's going to expand south and have this whole area here. He probably eventually will fight the Sisters of Twilight as well, and I think he beats them quite handily. He might have a very, very large area to expand if he goes south. And then as long as he just can hold off Nagarond, which I honestly, I'm convinced he can. I'm convinced the dwarves can do quite well against Dark Elves. It's just mainly Valkyria. I think that's his main contender up there. If Torox runs into the dwarf, into Grombridal, Torox is screwed. As good as Torox is, I don't think he can beat him. Bellacore. Honestly, here's like the thing is, Bellacore does not expand too far beyond the kind of mountain area that he's in, mainly because of the whole his like upkeep his whole upkeep thing with not owning 8 peaks. So that puts a big hindrance on AI Bellacore all the time. He doesn't expand very far because like he can't really afford to send his armies out super far. So I think Bellacore is, as an AI, is, and then he gets confederated, he's probably going to go bottom of C. He's not going to get wiped out, and he's eventually going to get confederated. He will hold his own in that area for the entire time until he gets confederated. Like, no one's going to kill him. And he's going to stick it to Clan Scryer, and probably Scrag, if I'm being honest. Ungrim, I'm just going to put Ungrim down, kind of... Yeah, I'm just going to put Ungrim down next to Crone Hellbrun. He's going to get confederated almost straight off the bat. He's not going to do anything. I think that's pretty obvious. Thorek. Thorek has the whole mountain range that used to belong... if I'm remembering right, Clan... basically, Thorek was in this mountain range here, and Clan Moors were basically here. I know the map's slightly different now, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of the general gist of things. I'm pretty sure most of the time Clan Moors killed Thorek. But Clan Moors a little bit away from Thorek now. Thorek is going to suffer from vampiric attrition, but dwarves have quite good obedience. They can get quite high obedience, so I don't think that's going to be a huge issue. Even with the really high corruption. And I think he kind of just sits in his... He's probably just going to sit in his mountain, not do a whole lot. He may expand a little bit. But I think what Thorek is just going to do is just sit there and play tower defense for 200 turns. That's what I'm thinking. So he's going to go... probably... He's going to go above everyone that gets confederated. Probably there. Above everyone that gets confederated, but not too far. Grimgore. We've got our second A tier lord. Grimgore next to Kolek. That is going to be... if they do not start at war with each other, I'm pretty sure Grimgore is going to ally with Kolek. If there is not a war forced between them because of the chaos mechanic, excuse me, I'm almost certain that Chaos and that Grimgore and Kolek will form an alliance, and they will just completely wreck everything. Like, and even if Grimgore fights Kolek, I think Grimgore wins that fight. I think with the orcs win that. But this whole area, like, just look at the amount of room Grimgore has to expand. He is going to get massive. His empire is going to be so big by the time you get to him. It's actually insane. Grimgore is going to be so powerful, but when he does run into the Empire, Kislev, all that, I don't think he expands any further than that. I think he's just going to get stopped right in his tracks, which is the problem. Which is why he's not S tier, because as soon as he hits an S tier faction, he's just going to get halted. He's going to get halted. If I remember correctly, did I put Katarina? Yeah, she's an S tier. So yeah, I'm pretty sure once he actually hits anyone that's not a legendary, he also might do quite well into the dwarves once he reaches them. They're going to bounce off each other quite strong. So, but yeah, Grimgore, second A tier legendary lord faction. Scarsnake. Oh no. Oh, Scarsnake, buddy. Like I said earlier, I mean, just look at that. Just look at that. Skarsnik already suffers. His location in Warhammer 2 right now, which is like here. Basically here, the Southern Grey Mountains. He suffers so hard there. He's just stuck there and he can't move. His army is so bad. It's just goblins. It's not gonna do shit against dwarves. It's not gonna do shit against dwarves. And he's just gonna get killed so fast. If he doesn't die, all he does is just sit there and like not lose his city. But like I don't even think he can do that. I don't think he dies as fast as Silostra, but he still dies real fast. Azzag. Well, positive thing for Azzag. No Grimgore next to him to confederate him like straight off the bat. But I'm pretty sure he's just gonna die to the dwarves. So Azzag with his savage orcs into dwarves with heavy armor, and savage orcs don't have any armor piercing, and they're just gonna bounce off dwarf armor and not do any damage, and Azzag's just gonna get clapped. So I think Azzag's gonna take over the other orc factions around him, so he'll have like a decent territory. But once he reaches those dwarves, I think it goes downhill for him from there. Grom the Paunch. Grom starts off near Bretonia, right? He starts off in Bretonia. I think he does okay. I think he just dies to Lewin. Willing to put him up here somewhere. He probably goes probably better than Alariel. Marathi. So he's gonna expand a lot of this area. He's obviously not gonna go into the forest, but he's gonna expand a lot of this area here. He's gonna run south into Carcassonne. He's gonna die. He's gonna run north into Lewin Leoncoeur, and he's gonna die. And then both of them, like, what happens is, like, Lewin's gonna confederate the Fey Enchantress. And he just sandwiches both of them. That's as simple as. Azzag. I think Azzag might do okay. He's next to Kislev, but he has a lot of area that he can confederate to the south, or not confederate, take over to the south and to the east. And then he'll run into Grimgore, but Grimgore will confederate him. But I do think until that point, Azzag might be one of the better kind of secondary orc or one of the kind of secondary race legendary lords. Like, he might be one of the strongest, behind probably Altharion, who'd, like, you know, typically get confederated. So I'm gonna put Azzag up here. I think Azzag's a good solid B tier lord for the AI. I think he's gonna do quite well. As long as he doesn't run into Kislev. I think that's the one caveat I'd put on this. If he doesn't run into Kislev straight away, I think he'll do okay. If he expands south, he should be fine. Manfred. Moving on. No, I'm just kidding. Manfred is in a rough spot. I'm not gonna lie. Manfred's in a really rough spot. So he's against Settra, Volkmar, Thorek, probably Crocodile if Crocodile can get past that mountain range, and Tic Tac Toe, and Scarbrand. Oh boy, he's in such a rough spot. And then if Kalita comes over here, he's against Kalita too. It is literally Manfred versus the Southlands. That is everyone is his enemy down there. He has no friends, which is a huge L for him. He has Arkham the Black. Arkham the Black is his only potential ally in this whole area because of the whole vampire corruption thing. Like, Arkham and him will probably end up being friends. I think Arkham also has a bonus for diplomatic relations with vampire counts, if I remember correctly. But still, seriously, like, he is surrounded on all fronts by enemies. There's even wood elves there. Man, really, really rough for Manfred. Rough start for him. Honestly, Manfred is strong, but I cannot see him surviving that. I cannot see him surviving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 or 7 factions attacking him. He ain't gonna survive that. There's also the other, like, not even Cetra, the other Tomb Kings around him as well that he's gonna have to fight off. I can't see Manfred doing all that well. I'm gonna put him I'll put him above Crone and Ungrim. But aside from that, I do not think Manfred's gonna do well whatsoever. There might be like the occasional campaign where Manfred might do okay, but I think Manfred's just gonna get killed very quickly. Helmengorst. This is where it gets interesting. I think Helmengorst is going to be incredibly strong. He has a really good starting location. The only legendary lord that's near him that he'll probably run into is Kugath. Kugath is probably going to get held off for a while by the Lizardmen, which gives Helmengorst quite a lot of time to expand. Also, his corruption on all the enemies around him is going to be really strong. Like, I think Helmengorst is going to be very good. I think he's like going to be up here in B. I think he's going to expand quite a lot. And he's going to be a real pain in the ass for Cathay to deal with, and Greasus, because I just don't think that they're going to be able to handle the corruption that he's gonna give everybody down there. Like, and plus his army's real strong. His army for buffing zombies, legendary lords, or not even legendary lords, just lords in general love to stack their armies with complete shit units. So he's gonna stack his army with shitty zombies, but he buffs shitty zombies and makes them really strong. So like, I think Helmengorst is gonna be quite good. I'm gonna make a prediction that he's gonna be end up being like B tier AI legendary lord. He's gonna do quite well. He's gonna be there for a while. He's gonna expand a lot. Vlad and Isabella. I think so. I'm gonna put these together because, or it's only Vlad as an AI actually. It's not Isabella as an AI. Ooh, actually, that's a good point. So, okay, I think Vlad's going to end up being high C. He'll be in Sylvania for a lot of the game. He's going to own, like, basically all here, the Mootland, Southern Sylvania, Northern Sylvania. He'll probably own a bit of the Ostermark, maybe even parts of Blackwater. He's going to have a lot of that area. He's going to be dishing out a load of corruption to Empire factions. That's going to cause a huge strain on them. He's going to be a massive pain in the ass to deal with for the AI Empire. But the only problem is he doesn't have, and like I said, he also does not have Manfred in order to help him. There's only one legendary lord here right now, and not 2 factions. But again, they're also not competing with each other for those like key capital city, like the major cities and stuff. Which could be a big benefit for Vlad. Because he can take Castle Drakenhof and the one in Castle Drakenhof is the one in Sylvania. I can't remember the map off the top of my head. I can't remember what the cities are called. But yeah, like those cities that have those unique building chains for the vampire counts. He can get both of them real easy now. And he doesn't have to contend. He's also not going to get confederated now by Manfred, which happens quite a lot. So I think Vlad's going to end up doing quite well. I don't think he's going to do as well as Helmengorst, but I think he's going to do quite good. Heinrich Kemler. Genuinely, he doesn't survive the campaigns long enough. I might actually just put him down here. He doesn't, from what I've seen, he doesn't survive campaigns long enough for me to even form an opinion on this guy. By the time I ever get to him, he's always dead. So I'm going to put Heinrich Kemler down in F. Not very good. Sorry, Isabel, just get to the back there, please. Wolfrick. I think Wolfrick will do quite well. I think he's going to ally himself with Bellacore and Azazel, and Sigvald and Throg, and then he's going to confederate Throg, or Throg will confederate him. We've seen that happen sometimes. And he's going to control all of Norska, and he's going to take some parts of the Nordland, probably. He might come down to Corone and take some parts there. I think he's going to do quite well. You know, Wolfrick always does decently as an AI. I think Wolfrick's going to be up in B. I'm also going to put Throg up in B because they basically do the same thing. Like, it's either Throg takes over Wolfrick and does well, or Wolfrick takes over Throg and does well. So this is the one exception that I'm going to put for Confederated Lords, because it's either Wolfrick confederates Throg, does bits all over the place. I think even with Azazel here, I think he's still they're both gonna do quite well. They're gonna come down to Corone and the Northern Empire, and they're gonna really harass them and annoy the shit out of them. yeah, so this is the exception I'm going to make for lords that get confederated. Next, Lewin Leoncoeur. I think Lewin Leoncoeur, the A-tier lord. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be as good as Grimgor. You know, he gets a massive empire as well. He basically controls all of Bretonnia, like the whole area down here. Sometimes expands down into Marienburg, can take bits up around the Wasteland, the Midland, Nordland. He kind of like has a lot of spots there. Sometimes even goes up to Bretonnia, or sorry, to Norska and takes over Norska up there. So like I think, and he might even go to Albion and just kill Bellacore right off the bat as well. I'm pretty sure that's probably what's going to happen very early. So yeah, I think Bretonia's Lewin Leoncoeur is very strong A. Alberic, I'm gonna put him next to Wolfrick because I think they're gonna have similar kind of campaigns. Basically, for the AI is gonna have basically similar things are gonna happen. So they're gonna ally with each other. They're gonna do quite well. As soon as one of them dies, the other one's gonna die. That's what I think is gonna happen anyway. I don't think both of them can take on like Gorok. Yeah, I don't think both of them can take Gorok because they're taking Gorok from the south and Mazda Mundy from the north. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do that well. Fae Enchantress, she'll do quite good, and then she'll get confederated. So I'm gonna put her down. I'm gonna put her above Wicked Claw, but she's just gonna kind of stay in Carcassonne and then get confederated by Lewin. Rapunzel. I think Rapunzel's gonna do quite well. She does not get confederated very often. Or if she does get confederated, it's very late into the game. So I think she'll do quite well. She'll control a lot of Araby. I think she's gonna just keep Arkan stuck exactly where he is. She'll probably control all the cracked land, most of Araby. I think she'll have a really strong alliance with Volkmar and Eltharion. So yeah, that's basically what I think she's gonna be quite strong. Will she be hard to deal with? Probably not, but I'm willing to put her up in the B up here. She normally does quite well. Orion. I'm gonna put you. Yeah, I'll put you between Azzag and Gorok. Orion is just going to take all of Athel-Loren and just kind of stay there. But you're never gonna take Athel-Loren off him. No AI is going to go in there and take it off him. I don't know, I mean, players can obviously go in and take it quite easily, but no AI is going to take Athel-Loren off of him. Yeah, I don't think any AI is going to go take Athel-Loren off him. Eventually, he'll have the jungle down in the south, or the forest down in the south, he'll have the Sisters of Twilight probably. He'll be quite powerful, very strong. He's going to confederate Durthu, he'll control all the forests in the world eventually. So I think he's up in B. I think he's going to be quite strong. But again, he's never going to leave, so that's probably why he's not in A. Durthu. I think Durthu is going to be quite strong as well, but he's going to get confederated very quickly. So I'm going to put him next to Marathi and Ilariel. There's really not much else I can say about Durthu. He stays in Athel-Loren. He kills orcs and shit. Alright, where was I? Got interrupted. I just did Durthu. Where did I stick Durthu? Yep, cool. Nice place for Durthu. It's, like, lower end of C. She's gonna get confederated. Never leave the forest. Alright, cool. Sisters of Twilight. They're probably not gonna leave their forest very much, but they will dominate that area. Like, they won't get taken over very easily, and they're probably gonna expand a little bit beyond the forest. They will do well, I think. This is just Twilight. They will do quite well, especially if they can get aerial. They'll be quite strong. I think I'm gonna put them down below Crocodile. Actually, I want to see who's around them now. Yeah, exiles. Okay, so there's no change around them except for Grombridal. No, yeah, I think they're gonna do fine. To kill Torox, I mean, it's kind of, you know, that's their thing, killing Torox because of the DLC. But you know, I think they'll do quite well. Or wait, Torox wasn't that DLC. Shit, Torox was Oxial. Fuck. Never mind. Drika. Drika, I think, is also a C. She's gonna be, she's gonna be, she's gonna survive for a while. But she's probably not gonna expand beyond the borders of the forest very much. I think she is below all these guys. Yeah, she's probably there. Yep, she's probably there. Looks about right. Kazrak. He's gonna die very fast. Kazrak's not very good. Kazrak is... Oh, he's gonna be low. He's gonna be lower than Manfred. Yep. Probably there. Because what? Oh, wait, they move... Oh, no, he's in Midland now. Oh, yeah, they move... No, this is where he's... Sorry, Morger's down here. Yeah, okay. You run into Toddy. I mean, like, there's no man like Toddy. Toddy's gonna clap him. Malagor. Malagor next to Scarbrand. They may team up. They may actually make an alliance, so Malagor might stick around for a while. They has to contend with Eltharion and Wurzag to the north and Kemri to the south, but Kemri will be dealing with Manfred. I think Malagor might actually be okay. The only problem is, like, Horde factions are just so volatile as the AI. Like, sometimes they can do really well, but most of the time they really don't. So just on the basis of that, I'm gonna put him low C. Yeah, probably above Bellacore. Actually no, I think he goes below Bellacore. Morger. He's gonna get killed even faster than Malagor is. He has no allies around him. Yup, he has no allies there, so he's just gonna die straight off the bat, probably. And I'm gonna put him down into F. He's not gonna survive longer than Kemler. Torox. Again, Horde. Very fucking strong Horde. The strongest freaking Horde in the game. Starting location. Rough. Between Nagarond, Sisters of Twilight, Nagaryth. He'll kill Silostra real fast. So honestly, I'm probably gonna put him here. He's probably gonna be the top of D tier, but again, not gonna survive very long, I don't think. Archaon. Archaon is kind of off on his own up here. He is close to Boris, but so is the Demon Prince. So is Throg. So I think he beats Boris, and he has a large area down here to expand. A huge area to expand. So he has a lot of breathing room. Boris doesn't have a whole lot of breathing room. I think Archaon is going to be very strong. He can't confederate, though, which is the only problem. So I'm pretty sure if I have been understanding some explanations correctly that I've been reading online, other factions can confederate him, but he can't confederate anybody else. But I'm going to stick Archaon up in top of B. I think he's going to do very well. He's going to be very strong. He probably will be the big bad guy for Kislev and the Empire to contend with in the late game. So, yeah, I'm going to stick Archaon there. Kolek. Kolek Suneater. Not a whole lot of room for expansion. Kolek's very strong. Him himself as a lord is extremely powerful. It's like almost a one-man army. I think Kolek does very well. If he runs into Grimgore, he dies. He will get killed if he challenges Grimgore. But like I said, I think they might end up allying as long as there is no forced war. And he has a decent area to expand. He can get right up to the borders of Cathay. He can potentially get borders of Cathay and go south. Well, Grimgor, he can basically go southeast, while Grimgor goes southwest. He could go a bit north as well. You know what? I think Kolek might be quite strong. I'm gonna put him in the bottom of B. Actually, I'm gonna put him above Rapunzel. I think Kolek's gonna be strong. Sigvald, probably the weakest out of all of them. Which also brings us to the end, the last boy, Sigvald. So Sigvald is contending with Crone and Hagrief and Nagaroth. So he probably takes over like, you know, a good chunk of area up here, and then probably just dies to Nagarond afterwards, because Nagarond are going to control a huge area up here. They're going to have so much space to go north with. So that's what I think is going to happen with him. But I do still think he'll be a bit of a pain in the ass for Nagarond. So for that, I'm going to put him... he's probably going to be more of a pain in the ass than Sisters of Twilight. So yeah, that's good. All right. So that's the tier list. Sorry, Isabel, but you're not a Legendary Lord anymore for the AI. So that's the Legendary Lord tier list. Actually... that looks better. That looks better to me. Cool. So, yeah. I think Malekith will probably pull out in the end and do actually quite well. Yeah. Now that I've kind of talked through it a bit more, yeah, I actually do think Malekith will be quite strong. So, this is the tier list, and we go back over to the Warhammer 3 Lords. We have Kislev, Scarbrand, Kislev in S, Scarbrand and Miao Ying in A, Greasus and Kairos in B, Kostaltin and Zhao Ming in C. D tier, we have Demon Prince, Scrag, Kugath, Boris, Bellacore, and in F we have Nakari. Over here in S, we have Prince and Emperor, Karl Franz, Tyrion, Thorgrim, Malekith. A, Grimgor, Luin Leoncoeur, Archeon the Everchosen. B, Cetra, Altarian, Gorok, Orion, Azzag, Oxyotl, Grombridal, Helmengorst, Wolfrick, Throg, Kolek, Rapunzel. In C, lots. In C, lots. Vlad, Malice, Kalita, Crocodile, Sigvald, the twins, Mazda Mundy, Arnessa, Rikarth, Nikai, Imric, Tic-Tac-Toe, Volkmar, Luther, Thorek, Drika, Wolfheart, Alberic, Balthazar Gelt, Grom, Durthu, Marathi, Alariel, Queek, Snitch, Belagar, Malagor, Torox, Fey Enchantress in D, Igaclaw, Tehenowin, Alathanar, Teclis, Tretch, Throt. God, Jesus Christ, all the names, all going out my head at the same time. Noctilus, Arkham the Black, Katep, Warzag, Manfred, Kazrak, Ungrim, Crone, and then in F, we have Heinrich Kemler, Morger, Loki, Skrulk, Snick, Skarsnik, and Silostra. Out of all, who do I think is going to be the best? I think it's going to be the Empire. Who do I think is going to be the worst? I think it's going to be Silostra. This list has both the best and the worst in there. Yep, and I think that's yeah. I think that's gonna be the tier list for the AI Legendary Lords, like how well they're gonna do, versus the other AI. Obviously not the players, like how long I think they're gonna last, how much of a threat I think they're gonna be, and yeah. So that's the list. So, yep, cool. Thanks for watching. So real quick correction. This is me post finishing the tier list. I wanted to come back and make a couple of changes to this actually. And now that there's a couple of things I remembered after originally making the tier list that actually play a factor. So moving Queek from down in C, I kind of forgot that in the lore, the reason Scarbrand is right next to Queek is because Queek and Thanquol accidentally summon Scarbrand. So, given that I put Queek down in C because I think Scarbrand is going to absolutely slap him off the bat, I actually think they're going to start with a non-aggression pact. So that actually changes things quite a lot. Which I'm actually going to move Queek up into. I'm actually going to move Queek up into B. Above Rapunzel. And above Throg and Wolfrick. Actually, I'm going to move Queek up into kind of, low mid B. Just because of that specific change. Because I do think that's relevant. So that's where we're going to put Queek. The other change I wanted to make is that I want to, I think I'm going to put Miao Ying up in, she's actually going to be top of S for the Warhammer 3 Lords. After thinking about it a little more, yeah, I mean, like, my previous reasoning for putting Cathay in the A tier because they're not going to expand out past Cathay. It doesn't matter. They're going to have so much landmass. Like they have to be S tier. They're so off on their own. Once they kind of deal with all the legendary lords around them, they have no one else to contend with, and they're gonna probably they're going to own the most regions in the game, kind of towards the end. Probably just as much, if not more, than the Empire. So I think I have to put Cathay in S. So that's the other correction that I want to make as well.